Hello and welcome to EDNews-TV. Today we are going to talk about tensions between China and Taiwan. We are joined to Kirupa Haran. Thank you for joining us today. My first question is that what is one China policy?
Thank you, Muhammad Ali. Glad to be in your interview. You see, when we talk about one China policy, we must see the historical past. What has happened actually made China to be one China policy. When we go into the history, you see, People's Republic of China, it was never in the United Nations, especially in the Security Council. During that time, during Nixon or before, it was Taiwan which was in the permanent. It was China who was a permanent member, and it was the only one which was the member of the United Nations from China. When United Nations decided to give People's Republic of China in place of Taiwan in the Security Council, so Taiwan was offered a position to be in the General Assembly. Taiwan was very furious, and they thought we should not be even there. So this way we believe in one mistakes lead to several mistakes. You see, that time if China would have remained peacefully, happily in the General Assembly, I, I think this today's situation wouldn't have arisen. Anyway, when we come to see about one China policy, they are very powerful. We cannot deny that. Today, when we consider the whole world, China is very powerful economically, also militarily, and etc. etc. But you see, when we look at Taiwan, Taiwan is no more member of the United Nations, and in the meantime, it's a country without any institution. You see, it is almost equal to Kosovo because they are not a member of any of these. China has become more and more powerful, and they are everywhere. You see, you all know very well, I am originally from Sri Lanka. Now, you see, because of several mistakes by India, China has spread its net even in Southeast Asia. They have a, I won't say military base, they have a place in Sri Lanka on a 99 years lease. So this one China policy led by actually the historical mistake by Taiwan, and Taiwan is presently more and more towards US. US is there to protect Taiwan. Taiwan find it difficult, and we don't know how many Taiwanese is supporting the one China policy. We don't know what is happening inside Taiwan because they have elections, uh, they have president, they have parliament, but we don't see the actual situation of the people of Taiwan. When you look at Hong Kong, Hong Kong was there was a time it belonged to British, and when their contract was over or something contract or agreement was over, it was forced to give it to Hong Kong, and there were a lot of people disagreeing to join China. But when you consider Hong Kong situation presently, it's different because it's all brainwashed and colonized by Chinese in that area. So the one China policy is not a good thing because one China policy not only Taiwan, it's almost in Africa, it's already in Sri Lanka, it's already in Pakistan. Also, it is in some other regions um, in a hidden way. So one China policy, in a general analysis, it won't be strict to only Southeast Asia. It will spread its China policy everywhere. Many poor countries in Africa has fallen in that. Anyway, I will continue with your questions and then tell the rest.
Today, reports have emerged that China has begun military exercise along its border with Taiwan. What is China trying to signal by this? Is China going to invade Taiwan?
This is a very good question. You see, Now we are talking about China. China, some people will say, pro-Chinese people will say, I am not talking only about Chinese, pro-Chinese in other part of the world will say, they have all their rights to invade Taiwan. Because when you look at today's world, look at what US is doing. US is claiming authority in Greenland, which Denmark is refusing. Look at what Russia is doing. Russia is in Ukraine, and we don't know how the peace deal is going to end up very soon. So, on the other hand, when we look at Israel, they are making a claim to Palestinian territory and all that. So, when we look at the 5 permanent members in the United Nations Security Council, China is already claiming Taiwan. Russia is claiming Ukraine and various other countries within their ex-Soviet, and US has already claimed for Greenland. On the other hand, of course, Britain and France has not dominated or colonized anywhere. I won't say colonized. They are not putting their military powers in neither in Northern Ireland presently, or even in France, Kosovo, and Britannic. But their problem also still continuing. So there are, as you said, there are more possibilities. China may walk in. They are worried whether this will lead to a big conflict, because America is in agreement with Taiwan to protect them. But is China ready to go against USA? Is the question presently. But as far as the world is concerned, China will walk into Taiwan in their earliest.
How do other states in the region view China's desire to increase hegemony in the Pacific Ocean?
This is what I have already said. You see, now, very recently, you must have heard about the um, flood and cyclone in Sri Lanka. That made many countries to go into that country, because even though that country is a pro-Chinese government, actually the present Sri Lankan government really a pro-Chinese government, whereas India is trying to patch up with them, because China has already landed in Sri Lanka a few years back, and they got a very good area near the Indian Ocean. They have the harbor, they have the airport, etc., etc. So, you see, when we look at the present world, there are many countries interested in dominating other countries, not only in South Asia, various other part of the world. If you take Sri Lanka as an example, recently Sri Lanka was affected by flood and cyclone and all, and China already has a base there. Some people will not agree they have a base, but they have a huge part of southern Sri Lanka in their hand. Then India is presently doing a lot of aids and all to Sri Lanka, because they think that China will go 100%. Sri Lanka will go 100% into the Chinese, because this is a pro-Chinese government actually, which is in Sri Lanka. Then when you look at America, they landed in the name of humanitarian aid and all. They have been to, their planes have been to all the important part of Sri Lanka. Some places, even the Tamils, they have welcomed the American arrival in the northern part, but actually north and eastern part is the part of the Tamil homeland. When we consider Pakistan, on the other hand, and Maldives, they all are the present world order. Many countries are trying to find and occupy other part of the world. This is what happening many part of the world. After Trump came, you know what is happening in US. US, they want to what is happening between US and Peninsula. I don't know how it is going to end up. There is a Russian warship has gone into the territory. So we'll have to wait and see. But as you said, not Southeast Asia is going from bad to worse. But in the meantime, other part of the world as well. That's what I said about Greenland and Ukraine and also.
Recently, we have seen Japan rapidly expanding its military capabilities. What is the reason behind this high level of militarization?
You see, after the Cold War, Cold War, what happened? Several new countries have born,
Yes.
especially USSR, and not only USSR. After the Cold War was over, only new countries which fought for their right to self-determination. For example, Eritrea, East Timor, South Sudan, and Kosovo, even though it's not considered as a UN member, it is like Taiwan. It has the same status. So militarization naturally has come because of so many ethnic conflict in various parts of the world, especially in Asia. Still, there are armed conflict in many places. Of course, the Tamils one, it is they said we are silencing our arms and all, but still the struggle is going on for their right to self-determination. So one of the reasons for militarization around the world is ethnic conflict within many countries, and they are still asking for their right to self-determination, one of the cause of the militarization. Secondly, unemployment is increasing in the world. So if you look at present Britain, they are thinking of recruiting children. I won't say children, students at the age of 16. Why they want to start from the 16, whereas the UN says 18 and 15 and various ages? Britain is deciding to recruit people at the age of 16 for volunteer service or something. So the militarization causing and showing the reason, one of the reason is ethnic conflict in the various part of the world.
We know that countries such as Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, and the Philippines lie between China and the Pacific Ocean. With the exception of Taiwan, all of these states host US military bases. Can the United States prevent China's attempt to establish hegemony in Pacific?
You see, now during our both of our discussion, we can see Asia is becoming a problematic region. The whole of the compared to the other regions, because you see, we cannot uh, undervalue North Korean activities and their military power. Why Japan is trying to expand its military power? They have learned a very good lesson during the Second World War, because we know the whole history of Pearl Harbor and what the American did to Japan. So because of that military power, they are expanding. Philippines, when we say Philippines is expanding their military powers or whatever it is, who is behind that? Americans are behind that. America is behind Philippines. There is no doubt about it. Even South Korea, America is there because of the North
Yes.
Korean all that. So we can see America is influencing many countries. I am not telling it's bad and I am not telling it's good, but this is the reality. America is going into many Asian countries, Asian Pacific countries, and dominating there is the reason we can see that as Philippines, South Korea, Japan. This is what happening. So these countries alone, they cannot show their military strength because they are not that powerful except Japan. Or South Korea is not very powerful compared to North Korea. So US is behind all this. I'm not blaming US, but this is the reality now.
If China achieves its objectives, is there a possibility that a third world war could occur the next stage?
Prediction of third war, not today, yesterday, it's happening for the last 10, 15 years. Every time when there is a conflict in any part of the world, people think of the third war. You see, whether third world is going to start, third world war is going to, to us, when we look at the all five big powers, you see, each of them are frightened of other one. You see, when you look at US is the Trump is of course worried about his Nobel Prize and all that. So he is in many countries trying to patch up their problems and all that. And people say Ukraine-Russian war may end up in a world war. and also Gaza. Same thing they predicted, because the way this Gaza continues and Israel is more aggressive on Gaza, all the Islamic countries may get together and force countries like Russia to go ahead Israel. So it will end up in a world war. World war is predicted. The may happen was predicted long, long ago, but I don't think you see second world during the Second World War, people have suffered a lot. Now they are war veterans and very elderly people, and they can't walk or talk even now. So the history has taught another world war is not a good thing to the present world. So it's doubtful there will be a world war, because I don't think when there is a war, for example, you take Ukraine, the whole world is going to support Ukraine to go against Russia is very doubtful. Same thing because of Gaza is going to happen is very doubtful. The third one, Greenland. If Russia, US happen to walk into Greenland, I don't think all the countries are going to motivate Denmark to go against US. I don't think Denmark is in military power is equal to US. So I don't think World War will happen in the near future. But you know what will be the consequences of World War? Now it's not like unlike the Second World War. Now everyone has their nuclear weapons. So this is not a good idea. I don't think that will happen in the near future.
Mr. Kirupa Haran, thank you for sharing your valuable insights with us. And I appreciate your kindness. Thank you for your kindness.
Thank you, Mahammadali. Thank you very much for calling me, and we will be in touch in the near future.